Welcome to Nightmare Narratives, where fear finds a voice and the shadows tell their tales. Tonight's story comes from the fog-drenched streets of London. A chilling tale about a mysterious painting, one that watches back. Make sure you're alone, lights off, and headphones in, because once you see what's inside this painting, you'll wish you hadn't tea. When my uncle passed away, he left me two things: his flat in Soho and a painting. He'd always been an artist, a bit of a failure, really. He never sold a piece in his life, but his legacy is now hanging in my hallway, framed in a cracked, chipped piece of wood that looks like it came from some old abandoned thing, and it smells like mildew and dust. Not because it's ugly or disturbing, or even particularly interesting. It's just off. There's nothing good or bad about it. You can see gas lamps glowing through the mist, and the buildings are lost in this yellow haze. And then in the foreground, two people are walking hand in hand. They're blurred, like their forms are being lost to the fog. Their faces aren't clear, but they seem to be looking at each other. The right light, it almost looks like they're smiling. It's just there. My dad is gone. All I have are these walls and this painting. The noise and the crowds were overwhelming, especially after spending most of my childhood out in the countryside. And those first few months were difficult. I hated the gray skies, the rain. I missed the sun. I missed the open fields. I missed the quiet. It's big, about 4 feet tall. I turned down a side street and found myself in this little square surrounded by old brick buildings. There was a pub and a newsstand and a row of trees with benches underneath. A couple of kids were kicking a football around. An old man was feeding the pigeons. It was peaceful. It was covered in canvas, but I pulled it off anyway. Beneath it, there was another drawing. It's because my dad isn't here anymore. My uncle's painting. It's the last thing he ever made. It's the last thing he ever saw. It's like my connection to him, my dad. It's all I have left of them. It was done on the back of the original canvas. Some relic of a life you never lived. A memory that isn't yours to remember. I see them everywhere. Around every corner, down every alleyway, on every foggy street. Faces in the crowd, voices in the wind. It was basically a sketch of the finished painting. Only it had 3 people in it instead of 2. And one face was clear, and I recognized it instantly. It was my dad's face. Every morning when I leave for work, I stand in front of it for a moment, like I'm trying to absorb its sadness. And every evening when I come home, I see the glow of the gas lamps in my mind's eye. I imagine my uncle and dad walking toward me through the fog, hand in hand, their faces lost in the yellow haze. I don't want to be too dramatic, but it's unsettling. It was the same one from my uncle's painting. The same foggy street, the same gas lamps, the same 2 people walking hand in hand. Their faces were blurred, but I could make out their outlines. They seemed to be talking. They looked happy. Then it occurred to me that it could be the setting. It's more like a large closet with a door on it. It's the only place I could think of to put it. I mean, it's not great, but it's somewhere. It's better than leaving it rolled up in a tube under my bed. My uncle loved the artistic and historical side of London, so it probably depicts some sort of famous street. But there was something about this painting, the way it made me feel. It brought back a flood of memories that I wasn't even a part of. It shows a foggy London street. It was always a surprise. We'd turn up at the flat unannounced, and my uncle would let us in, and then we'd all drink tea in silence. Maybe my parents got tired of his drinking, or maybe he got tired of me. It doesn't matter. All I know is that one day he had the painting finished and my parents came to see it. That's what they told me anyway. I didn't see it until years later when I went to his flat to collect his stuff after he died. Sometimes my uncle would look at me, really look at me, and then he would smile. It was the only time I ever saw him smile. And then he would ask me what I wanted to draw. And then I would draw a picture for him, and he would hang it up on the fridge. And then we would drink tea in silence again. Then we would leave. I've walked every possible street, and I've never seen this one before. Like, where have I seen it before? This is London. Every building has a name. Every block is documented, mapped, photographed. That's just how the city works. Yet this street is missing. It's nice, I guess. But the first time I saw it, I felt this overwhelming sense of dread, like I was being watched. But which one? I live in the city and have done for years. Maybe it's not a real place, just my uncle's invention. But if so, why does it feel so familiar? I hadn't seen it since I was a kid visiting my uncle's flat. At some point, it must have changed hands. Someone else bought it. But how did it end up back with me? And then I realized I hadn't seen the painting in years, but I don't. How could I possibly know them? That doesn't matter now, I guess. What matters is that it feels so familiar, like I know the place, and I know the people. My uncle is gone. It took me a long time to get used to living in the city. Then one day I was walking home. It was probably winter. It always seems to be winter here. And then I noticed a painting on the wall. It was faded and scratched and weather-beaten, but I recognized the scene instantly. For some reason, I started crying. I don't know why. I barely knew my uncle. I don't think I ever met him sober. Like when I was a kid, maybe 8 or 9, my dad would take me to visit my uncle. I don't remember why those visits stopped. Back then, the painting had been propped up against the sofa, leaning against a half-empty bottle of whiskey. And that's when it hit me. That's why I felt all those emotions when I saw the painting. This city is full of ghosts. And some of them are mine. What do you do when you find something like that? Something that connects you to a past that isn't yours? I don't know. I hung it up in the hallway. It's not a hallway. It's an entryway. And it's weird. Sometimes, just sometimes, if the light catches it just right, I can almost see their smiles.